minute, don't know. Got a minute of your time. Got a minute of your.
Hush, you gotta live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my sight. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time. Part of the creation, the relations I've got, the only one that keeps me safe, the only one you should trust. For sure, it ain't right that I have checked the speck of dust from all of its sides. Fall down, that from my height, cause I didn't see the plank I have in my eye.
Yeah, so we got to do better. We're trash talking people.
No, we're not.
Okay, I'm trash talking her.
Let us have charity in our hearts.
Charity in our hearts. Well, it's great advice, especially for you. Last week.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Hashtag free Tegan.
I know.
Can I tell you?
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone to our podcast from
Yes.
Vision to Success.
Yes.
If you missed last week's podcast, I'm a little hesitant to tell you to go and listen to it, because when I went home, I asked Mike, who's my husband, I was like, "Hey, was I a little intense?" And he's like, "Yeah, you need to apologize." I was like, "Did I sound a little like holier than thou?" And he's like, "Yes, take it down a few notches." I was like, "Oh my gosh, not my intention." So here in our millions of viewers.
We're gonna lose all of our sponsorships. You know that, right? All the 3 that we have.
All our millions of viewers. I apologize. I did come a little bit. I didn't mean to. You know how sometimes in your mind things sound better than when they come out, and then I don't even want to watch last week's podcast because I was like,
I was gonna watch it and then
don't watch it.
No, I did watch it because I was gonna take snippets and show it here and then. But you know what? I was fine. Like it was. And here's the thing is, and because I watched it like 2 or 3 times.
Oh my gosh. Did you take down some notes on how you could do better?
I did. No, not you.
How you can do better. And after we talked about it, I was very apologetic, right?
Yeah.
And then Miguel.
Off air.
I was apologetic by the end because I was like, oh wait, like I'm a little intense, right? But then after we were talking about it, we're like, we're gonna create a hashtag that's gonna be like free Tegan. Free Tegan. I got you, girl.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. So here's before we get into today's topic. Okay, so I'm a why guy. I don't know if you know
You're
this.
a what?
I'm a why guy.
Oh, I don't understand what that means.
You don't know what it is? So there's a generation, it's the Y generation. They need to know everything, like how it works.
Is that like the boomer? The boomer?
It's not
like you're a boomer? Yes, I did know that.
I'm not a boomer, but I don't even know what generation this is, like what age bracket, or I don't know if this is just a category of people. Like in all honesty, I have no idea. But
what is it called? Y generation?
The Y generation.
Okay, let's look it up.
And
anyway, keep talking.
Yeah, and so this Y generation is like they have to know.
You mean the toddler generation? Just kidding. Just kidding.
What's wrong with you? Bring it down a notch, Maria.
I'm sorry.
What does it say?
Generation X is the term born for generation theory early in the 90s, a time when X symbolized unknown, variable, or a desire not to be defined. While not definitive sociological science, it helps group population to generalize groups with similar characteristics.
Okay. So it's a theory generation. People have to know how things work. Why is it working? Why is it?
It's probably because the internet came out around the same time, right?
100%. I totally agree, right? But even before the internet, because I really quickly realized the kind of person I was when my mom, for my 12th birthday, I think it was, she brought in a VCR. She bought me a VCR. I love movies, right? Watching movies. The minute she left, I took it apart. I put in.
You went from a Betamax, I'm sure, Betamax, whatever. Like, remember the before
the VCR? How old do you think I am, dude? What the freak? What the heck's wrong with you? Like, we're not that far apart. You know that, right? Like, what is happening?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Let's pause this thing for a second. How old do you think I am? How old are you? 38, 39, 40?
I'm 39. Yes.
Okay, I'm 45. So you relax. Calm down from your horse, dude. So
Let me dismount.
yeah, dismount. But she bought me a VCR, and yeah, the first thing I needed to know how it works, so I put in a tape, and then I took it apart. I took the body.
Was your mom so upset because she just bought it for you?
So she left the room,
Okay.
and then when she came back in, there was like pieces all over.
Okay.
Right, and she just challenged me to like. And my mom, like, she knows me very well. She goes, "Can you put it back together?" And which I did. Right, there are pieces that were still missing, but it was still working. But I quickly realized that I was obsessed with taking things apart, like figuring out why things happen, and I think that's one of the major reasons why I do what I do. But because I went from machineries to human behavior.
Yeah.
I love taking apart. Like just attitudes and why we do the way that we do and all these different things, right? Anyways, so the reason why I'm telling you this is last week I wasn't offended. Like I really wasn't. I thought it was funny more than anything that I'm like this horrible father and husband. But anyway,
Free Tegan.
Free Tegan.
Free the Martinez's kids. They're under
CAS if you're listening.
their address is. No, I'm just kidding.
Doxing right now. Yeah, no. So I wasn't offended, but I was more curious why there was a breakdown in communication
Last week.
And so I think the biggest thing is that we were not talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Like we weren't, right? I was so set, me personally, I was so set in what I was trying to explain. I failed to try and figure out why you were saying what you were saying from where you were coming from. And you were doing something very similar. You were taking a look at your personal life with Mike's and how he pleases you, and then how it wouldn't have worked with me, but we weren't talking about the same thing, like at all. Like at all, right? And so I went back. I was so curious. Last podcast is going to be used as case studies in universities. I'm telling you right now.
He's like, let me get my book. Must sound like pages and pages of
You
notes.
need to go back and watch last week's podcast. But yeah, and so there was a huge, massive breakdown in communication. So here's what I've learned.
Okay.
Number one is anytime that you find yourself in a heated conversation or whatever, or difference of opinions, you gotta stop talking and do more listening. So that was with me, right? Like, so for me to you, I needed to stop talking and just listen to what you were trying to say. Because I kept going back and I was like, I'm like, I understand. This is what I mean though, right? And so I wasn't even trying to understand what you were trying to say, right? So that was number one. It's just stop talking and do more listening. Number one. Number two is that any time that there is a difference of opinions, 99.9% of the time, you're not talking about the same thing. Like, I mean, this is black, right? And they're like, yeah, when I grew up with a white table, and I think, and yeah, but this is black. And it's like, yeah, no, and then I had white shoes when I was growing up, and I love my white. I know, but this is black, and so it's two different conversations that have nothing to do with each other. And so that was happening a lot in last week's podcast.
Okay.
I was saying one thing and you were saying another thing, and then we were just like trying to convince each other of our own difference of opinion.
I'm so right though.
You are totally not right. Anyways, and then the third thing, it didn't even come from a podcast. It came from talking it out to somebody else.
Okay.
So a lot of people watched last week's podcast, and one person made me realize how I may have been wrong. I'm not wrong in the sense of like being on time is very important. So that's not it. So the whole thing started by when I told you that Tegan takes on a lot, right? And so we have 30 minutes before we have to go to church, and she's putting together an IKEA table.
Okay.
That's my biggest thing, right? My problem is now I didn't put into practice the why. Why is she putting an IKEA table? It has nothing to do with because she hates me less or she doesn't care about me being on time. It has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
I need to take a step back and realize, why is she doing what she's doing? We have 30 minutes before we have to go to church. Kids are not dressed. There's no food on the table. The house is a mess. Hasn't been showered. She's not ready. And why is she putting together an IKEA table? And this is what happened. So I was talking to somebody. I'm not gonna shout her out, but she was listening to our podcast while she was doing housework, and she said, "Tegan is the kind of person that takes on so much. So she's a full-time mother. She's a full-time entrepreneur. She's a full-time daughter. She's a full-time wife. She's a full-time everything. That she's making every minute count because she has so much on her plate. So because Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday or Tuesday actually through Saturday, she's always working. Those 30 minutes is the only 30 minutes that she has to put that IKEA table. So what I need to do is I need to figure out if I need to ask her, which is what you were saying, how can I help to make things better? Right? Oh, I really need to put this IKEA together. Then I can do it so she's not doing it Sunday morning. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Right? And so I think that's what you were trying to say, but I just didn't know why she was putting a thing to a table 30 minutes before church.
Well, that's why I was like, that's why
That's
that's
you
why
were-
I was like,
I know
have
that-
you asked her?
Yeah, and I know, I get it. And I'm
You're like,
telling.
why would I ask her? I already know.
But again, even that we were talking about different things because for that it was like
You thought I was meaning after she was done
after
work.
she was done work.
Yeah, no, and I
right?
was talking about
exactly
something
again.
vibrating. Sorry, I thought it was my phone vibrating. Anyway,
Yeah, it sounds.
oh, maybe it's an echo here. Yeah, I think it's an echo here. Sorry, guys. Anyway, okay,
Jeez.
go on.
Yeah, and so yeah, and even that was we were talking about two separate things, right? So yes, you're right that I should have asked whatever. I'm still right in the sense of when we are late, and if that's important to me, and then she doesn't honor the, then we shouldn't be late. Just period.
I get it. It's something that you guys can both work on it, right?
Yeah.
Like she can
More
definitely.
you and her than me. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's something that you guys can do, right?
Yeah. So, anyways, that was interesting, and then there's still so much more to dissect. I am gonna probably go back and watch it one more time and just
That's
really.
good though. Like you
Yeah.
should have those conversations with Tegan because I think, like you said,
Yeah.
her plate could be alleviated, and also you like at the same token she can like help you in the sense where you
Right.
want to be on time. Like you both can help
Yeah.
each other, right?
Which is what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what I was saying that great, and then we can have a perfect plan put into place, but and you can try and execute it. Crap happens, something might happen, but if we have to be at a certain place at a certain time, that does take priority because that becomes the urgent and important. And
Yeah.
then building the table can go into scheduled. So
Yeah.
I can do it before, I can do it after. Let's put a plan together where what's important to you can be done, but not at the expense of being rude to other people.
I get that. It's just the portion, like you said, that you guys have to kind of communicate in is in the before and the why,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
So see, we got to the same
Yeah,
point. So
I
thank
know.
you to the third viewer.
Yeah.
Or to
yeah.
the
I hope
third
she-
person that we needed in order for me and him to be able to communicate.
She was
We needed a
horrible.
mediator, clearly.
So we can start dissolving the free hashtag Tegan, free Tegan
Free
hashtag.
Tegan. Free
Yeah.
her.
We can
Just go like this when you see him.
Tegan.
I got you, Tegan.
What's the the movie? No, it was something with the mockingbird.
How to Kill a Mockingbird?
No, dude.
I'm like, I don't know about that movie.
It was like
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games.
Yeah.
So instead of this, it'll be like
As she walks by, I should be in your ward. Just as she walks by, I'll just be like this. Or you'll be on the stand, so I can't really do that. I'll just be like this.
oh, so there's a guy. I was in the stands, and so I'm part of the leadership team in the church. So I have to sit on the stands, right? There's a guy, Josh. He will deny it, but I don't care. He's during sacrament too. He keeps looking at me, and he's like,
I could still see him that.
and so I can't look, and I should be reverent, and I should be,
I see you giggling.
quiet, and I keep doing all of this and just whatever. I don't. Anyways.
Just look down.
Yeah, I have to look down. I can't look at him while we're at church. Anyways, so today's topic actually, I think, marries perfectly with what we're trying to talk about, which is navigating the storms. I asked my kids the other day, we were going by, and I'm like, what is the, and I'm going to ask you this again. And let me see what you think. What is, and there's no right, well, there is a right answer. But anyways,
Miguel's like, whatever I think it's right.
it
Clearly.
is. And I'll tell you why I think I'm right.
Okay.
And you can say no, but it doesn't matter.
You're like, it makes no difference.
It will make zero difference. And let me ask the audience as well. What is the most important skill that you can learn in your human life?
Relationships, how to manage relationships.
How to manage relationships?
So conflict management. Like anything that's relationship wise, that is the most important thing that you can learn in your human life, because everything stems out of it. Your like family relationships, your working relationships, your career, how you interact with others around you. I think that is the most important thing that you can learn.
What do you guys think? What is the most important, in your personal view, what is the most important skill that you can learn in your human life? You saying family
You know what? Actually, I think family. Okay, so relationships. I was gonna say, like, I do think people skills.
But that's not a skill though.
Okay, so I'm gonna take it one step. Like, I'm gonna take
Yeah.
it one step back.
Yeah.
I think it's managing our own emotions. I think it's like emotional resilience. That is the greatest skill
Oh wow.
that we can learn.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely. So yeah, because I think emotional resilience can only improve other aspects. One being your relationship.
Okay.
You're welcome. See,
No, I'm
I'm
not saying
like-
I'm not saying that that's correct.
100% that's great. What's your thought? Tell me.
My personal opinion is communication skill.
That's part. So how are you going to be able to communicate? I do
Yeah.
agree. Communication is effectively.
Yeah.
It's super important. But how are you going to communicate effectively if you don't have the emotional skills to like?
But that's what it is. It's communication.
Well, yeah. But what if you don't have like the emotional resilience? What if you don't have the self-awareness? What if you don't have the ability to like manage your emotions to communicate effectively? Because if you're flying off the bunkers and you're super angry, you're going to be communicating, but you're only going to be communicating anger.
But that's not communication skills. So when I'm talking about communication skills is what I just did with you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Get off your high horse, man. I see you secretly mounted it. He's
Oh,
like
yeah.
riding it.
Yeah, you got off and I got on. No, it was
Probably.
no, but it was the it was I guess they go hand in hand in all honesty, because I went back, I stopped and I analyzed. So I was getting
But that's because you had self-awareness. That's because you wanted to,
right.
right? Had you not gone back, our communication could have been very different had you like been offended by what I said, had you been upset by what I said,
Yeah.
or like, you know, like negative emotion behind it, communication would have been differently. I agree with you, because I do think that a lot of the problems that we have is because we don't want to communicate and we don't want to have hard conversations.
Yeah.
So I think hard conversations is what mostly scares all of us, and we don't want to have them. So sometimes we want to like shove things under the rug, but they need to happen.
I just look at all the conflicts in the world right now, like everything that's happening between government and people, between government and government, between people and people, between culture, between races, between like whatever. And it's just a lack of
Communication.
communication, right? Even what's happening right now with the Palestinians and Israel, it's a position of like, and I'm not taking sides. I'm not voicing my opinion here or anything like that. But if people can learn to just talk it out and tell them how they feel, and the other person listens, and then they switch roles, I think they will hit a chord of empathy, and they can meet in the middle, and then she'd be like, okay, how do we find resolution? But it starts by being able to listen and communicate, right? And that's I think that's the biggest thing that's not happening right now.
It's the concept of seek first to understand before you want to be understood. Like if each
What?
one of us, Like let's say for instance, like last week, you and I had a little bit of a breakdown in communication.
You had
But
a breakdown in communication.
Anyway,
Yeah.
if I had like
Even Mike
first-
knows it. You had a breakdown in communication.
if I have first sought to like understand your point of view
Yeah.
and even say, okay, tell me, is this what you're saying? Then we could have
Yeah.
figured out that we were communicating in different, like that you were like, no, that's not what I said at all. This is what I said,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Had I taken that attitude, then I think we probably would have had a different conversation. We would have discovered different things.
So I used to teach drama and leadership at this private school. They're no longer. Anyways, I have my opinion on the school.
Anyway, so you used to teach it.
So I used to teach management. But anyways, I used to teach a phenomenal class, an amazing class. If you're watching this incredible class, it was conflict resolution.
Yeah.
And it was a 5-step process, and the acronyms were LEAK.
I remember. I think I remember you telling me, or like
Yeah.
me, like going to.
Well, I have a sweater that says "Take a leak."
So what was the first? Listen.
Listen,
Then empathy,
empathy. No, yeah, empathy. So
and then A,
A is accept the fact that you may be wrong.
and then K.
K is communicate.
Oh, you wrote.
No,
Oh,
C.
I see.
C.
Okay, you wrote it with a C.
C,
Okay.
communicate. And then meaning that if I'm telling you, like if I'm saying one thing and you're not getting it, there's 2 worst things that you can do to somebody when the breakdown of communication is. Number 1, you slow it down. You're calling them stupid, right? This is a black table. This is a black table. This is Michelle. This is a black table, right?
But
Yeah, I have
I
Michelle.
thought you had like the whole head and all.
Honestly, we keep mentioning Michelle on this podcast.
She's
I love her so
amazing.
much. We need to have her. People need to know who Michelle is, right? But anyways, so yeah, so when you slow it down, all you're doing subconsciously is you're telling that person, you're stupid. So I need to slow it down. Number 1, you can't do that. Number 2, you talk louder. Now you're calling them deaf and stupid, right? This is a black table. So don't do that, right? And so so part of C, which is communicate, is figure out how to say what you're trying to say, but use different words. Because maybe the problem is that they're just not understanding the sequence of words that you're using. So you got to, and there's how many ways to skin a cat, right? Or chicken. There's many different ways. And so reiterate what you're saying, but use different words, use a different tone, just figure out different words, right?
Yeah.
And then after you've tried multiple times to say it in different point of views, then you compromise. Be like, okay, so you can't see what I'm trying to say. How can we meet in the middle? And that's leak. So listen, empathy, have empathy for the person, listen what they're saying. Accept the fact that you may be wrong, which is in all honesty, humbleness. And be like, okay, you know what? I may be wrong here. Communicate. So communicate in different tone, different words. Try and say what you're trying to say, but differently. And then just compromise if all else fails. And those are the 5 steps to conflict resolution. And I think if there's a big, huge, massive breakdown in the 3rd one.
Let me ask you a question. What if the conflict that you're having cannot be resolved?
That's
Just one party does not want to. They don't want to. They don't want to be part of it.
Are you talking about your situation?
No, I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering.
Are we talking about your person?
Do share. What do you do? Because I'm sure that people have people like that in their lives, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I'm part of this. It's like a young women's presidency group. So I'm in our ward in our church. I lead the young women from ages 12 to 17. It's like a presidency. It's
Yeah.
not just me. It's like a whole bunch of people, right? But there was this one particular person, and I'm part of this group of other leaders from around the world.
Are you gonna want to say this online?
No, I'm just gonna share what she said. I'm not what I'm saying.
I know,
Yeah, I'm gonna share this.
but that's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know her. Everything was posted anonymous.
Oh, okay.
You know, there's Facebook groups now that you can post anonymous, and it's a worldwide group. So I have no idea who shared this, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So this particular person shared. She was like, "How do I work through a conflict that she's having?" So imagine this. So she's part of the Young Women's Presidency, right? There's a particular girl who has a problem with her and refuses to have
a
any
youth girl.
a youth girl,
Okay,
a youth age
okay.
girl, refuses to have any relationship with her, doesn't look at her, says mean things about her, right? And then and no matter what this leader has done, apologize, try to talk it out, anything, the girl is non-receptive.
Yeah.
And she also has a mom who feels the same way, who has been very vocal about this particular leader and like all her shortcomings and everything like that with other leadership, right?
Okay.
And she's like, how do I work through this? What can I do?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I was thinking, I was like, that's a tough situation
is,
because
yeah.
I'm like, in a leader, like sometimes there are people and if you're at work and you're having issues like this, it's not that you can just say, I quit, I don't want to go back to work and like, that's it, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
There are sometimes situations where you have to kind of keep stepping into this
so
environment.
I think leak can totally play a role because I was in a very similar situation a couple of weeks ago. Remember I was telling you that there was this person that...
Yes, but remember how long it took for that particular, because sometimes people are not ready to talk. Like,
No, but this was me though.
Yeah.
I was not ready to talk.
Yeah.
I was not... This person didn't think highly of me for I don't know how long, 10, 12, 15 years. But I took the stance like, well, I don't care kind of a stance. And I didn't to a certain degree. But then more activities, I kept seeing this person in these functions. And I was like, then it was starting to like really get to me. And then the conflict that's happening in the Middle East. And then in all honesty, that conflict has really taken a toll on me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it's depression or anything like that, but
it's created feelings.
it's created a lot of feelings of like, there's so much hate out there, and what can I do personally to bring more love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then it's like what you say, I've become more aware of the situation. And so this person we have similar groups and whatever, and I've seen this person many times, and before it's like, who cares? I don't, this person's not my best friend. I can live and die, and who cares, right?
Yeah.
But then again, as I'm seeing this person more, I'm like, okay, how can I fix this? How can whatever? So I went to listen. He wasn't talking. Empathy. I'm like I don't know what his problem is. So I had to jump straight to A. And I'm like, okay, this might be my fault,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when I went to A and I took the humble approach, because I still don't know what I've done, right? But I'm like, you know what? It may be my fault. From A, I was able to jump to C. And that's when I communicated with this person. I am sorry. I don't know what I've done in your life. And I just feel like there's this conflict. And I just hope we can get past this. But and then my compromise was like, this was my compromise. You can either accept it or not. And if you do, that's great. We can move on. And if you don't, I want to fix it, but there's nothing that I can do. That was me meeting the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It's still that person's choice if they want to meet me in the middle and be like, okay, I accept your apology, or okay, like I accept it, but I don't want anything to do with you. That's the middle. Because before we were on opposite ends. I hate you, and I don't know why you hate me. But now it's like I've come to the middle. I'm sorry, and I will do anything to try and fix and whatever.
So what would you have done had the person been like, I want nothing to do with you.
Well,
This doesn't work.
I met in the middle. I'm okay with meeting in the middle and being there and staying there whenever this person decides. If this person would be like, I want nothing to do with you, my position would still be, I would be in the center, and I'd be like, whenever you're ready to come to me, you can. I am going to go now and live my life.
Yeah.
I am going to have, but my conscience is now absolutely clear, and I will be in the center until both of us live or die or whatever. And if you ever want to come back, I will still be here to accept your friendship.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think on your side, you have to let go.
Oh,
like
100%.
if you are on, and that's exactly what I was thinking
But
too.
that's the center, right? That's the compromise at the end. And
Letting
the compromise is letting go and just staying in the center and waiting for the other person to kind of like come back if they want to.
See, I'm not a fan of waiting. And then this is just,
I'm
it
not
might
talking-
be my own journey. I
And
know.
I'm not
and
talking
this-
about actively waiting too, right?
No,
I'm
I
not.
know.
Okay.
And it might be, you know what? Let me tell you, like next podcast or like a few podcasts down the line, I might feel differently.
Well, let me ask you this then.
Okay.
You have, right now, there's a person in your life.
Oh, I have multiple conflicts going on.
Let's talk about the one.
Okay.
Well, there's two.
There's two actively conflicts that I have going on.
There's a male. We're not going to say who.
Okay.
Do you remember?
Yes, I remember. Okay, go on.
You know who, right? Look.
Okay.
Oh, did I?
He's like, when I say a male, I mean me. He's like writing the letter M.
M. No, look, ready?
No, I know who you're talking about.
Okay, so that's person, and then the other person.
Yeah, there's two active conflicts that I've had.
So here we go. Ready?
Okay.
We've talked about those two people,
Yeah.
and you're in the position of like, I've tried,
Yeah.
and you have. We've had many discussions on
Yeah.
these two particular people, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You are now living your best life ever.
Yes.
You've purchased a house. You and Mike. You guys are expecting. You're
Surprise! Just kidding. Mike is gonna be like, "Whose baby is that?" Because it's not mine. Like, you'll leave me. Please don't say those things.
She's not expecting. I am hoping that one day Maria will just come in here and be like, yeah, me and Mike we're expecting. And I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh.
yes.
He would be.
You know
I
you
was
want
holding
another
a
one.
baby yesterday, and my mom was like, "Oh, isn't it so beautiful? Don't you want to have another one?" And I was like, "No, I don't. I love babies. Don't get me wrong, but my kids are in the best age, 6 to 12.
Yeah.
They're doing chores. They're still
Yeah, yeah.
snuggling. No, I'm living my best life. Anyway,
Yeah.
keep going.
Okay, so you are living your best life. I see you. You're always laughing. You're the life of the party. you know, whatever. We go to an event and everybody's like, oh my gosh, Maria's here, right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so you are not parked waiting for anybody.
No, I'm
Okay.
not. Yeah.
Okay. What would happen if one of the two people comes up to you and says, I'm ready to talk?
I feel like I personally would not be ready for that.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like that because I feel like this is the way that I feel right now is that
wow,
you
okay.
cannot, like, I get it. Like, there's the aspect of forgiveness maybe on my side that I need to work on.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I feel like it's like hills and valleys where sometimes I'm just kind of like, yeah, you know what? Like, it is what it is. And then
Yeah.
other times I'm hurt. Like, actions of others do hurt me. They have a reaction on me,
Yeah.
regardless of how much personal development I do, regardless of how much.
Hang on. It's starting to happen.
My
It's starting
eyeballs.
to happen.
It started.
Like-
This guy was like,
I'm like looking at her eyes. Holy crap.
I don't know why I'm crying.
Yeah.
I always cry though. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like an emotional release, and I truly do feel like that's
No
why
judgment
it's
here.
like
No judgment here.
cleanses my soul, man.
No judgment here. Well,
No,
today I got an email. And just so we're on the same playing level field, I got an email. I've been asked to be possibly the keynote speaker for a principals conference and a VP conference at the end of January, right? And I just started crying. I'm being serious. And
He's like, just so we're on the same playing field.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you my accolade.
no, and I started crying. You know, it was
Yeah.
tears of gratitude because
Yes.
I just finished doing a principals conference for Hamilton.
Yeah.
I'm this week I'm heading to Montebello, Montreal again to do a VP's conference. So
Oh, that's so good.
I did the VPs, I did the principals, and I did parent engagement, and now Dufferin Peel, right? And
Yeah.
so I was overwhelmed with gratitude, so I started crying. So I get it. Crying is an emotional release.
Listen, I love me
Yeah.
some crying. Cheers to crying.
Yeah, but you cry over the oh my gosh, this mic is so
You know what?
beautiful.
Like, in all honesty, sometimes my eyes just water. Like when I have some like
yeah, sure.
some emotions.
Yeah.
Good morning. Apparently, I logged at the right time. 100%. Hey, girl. Just talking about conflict and like the conflict that I have in my
Yeah.
life. No, but in all honesty, I feel like right now, at least how I'm feeling today, is that you're right. I've done things on my part, right? I have reached out. I have
Yeah.
done things that I'm like I feel like I've done my best, and I've also like done a lot of work to let go of negative feelings.
I know.
Right? The thing is that, and this is kind of, I guess, in my journey that it's like a learning process, and I'm thinking this is probably an opportunity for me to learn.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I am not in a position to beg for anybody's friendship
Oh,
or
no,
relationship, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not what I'm talking about.
No,
Okay.
I know
Okay.
you're not talking about that, right? But that's how I'm feeling right now. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what kind of gives you the right to like just kind of do your thing and make it visibly awkward for me that other people notice, right? And then come back and pretend like nothing's wrong. Do
Well,
you get what I mean?
And I do. And I get it. And I'm not trying to belittle or diminish what you're saying. I hear you completely. But what was that talk? I think it was by President Hinckley. or even, well, there were two talks actually. So President Hinckley talks about, I don't know if you remember this, there was a tree and then they put like a little wedge, a very simple wedge, and then that branch started growing like off, not straight.
Yeah.
Over the years, that one simple wedge just really changed the course of, and it wasn't an overnight change.
Yeah.
It was just something very, very simple that all of a sudden the tree had to build its branch around this wedge, and then it just made it whatever. And even President, the German guy,
Uchtdorf.
he talked about the 1 degree
Yeah.
that totally changed the trajectory of the plane.
Yep.
Okay. So what I'm saying, and I've been a victim of this as well, that if you don't learn to let go,
Yeah.
it can really harden your heart and just see the world through negative lens, right?
Yeah.
But but this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you begging and waiting for the friendship, and I know you know that that's not what I mean. But I'm talking about is you've done your part.
Mm-hmm.
You've told them, listen, I'm sorry, I don't know what I've done,
Mm-hmm.
and then you live your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I'm telling you right now, I'm very surprised that if one of these people comes up to you and be like, not like, oh, okay, let's be friends, best friends, whatever. No, but they want to talk it out. They want to hash it out and be like, you know what?
I guess that would be the difference.
Okay,
I think
that's what I'm talking
yeah.
about. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. And I know that's how you are. If somebody generally comes up to you and says, I'm ready to talk, this is the reasons why I'm hurt, or they're trying to build and they give you the reasons, I don't think you're the person that would close that door.
I think you're right. I think what I would do is that perhaps, and this is me, right? Like I wouldn't consider them as close as perhaps like for the one person, right?
Okay.
I would potentially be like, okay, cool, yeah, let's hash it out. But the issue is that I've seen this pattern go in like multiple times, even with different people. So even that thing, I'd be like, okay, let's see how it goes. And it's not like, so with this other person, right? It like, I tried really hard to kind of mull over whatever was going on, which I never found out anyway. And out of nowhere, this person was like, "Oh, hey, hi," and like hugs and like everything, right? Out of nowhere. Like one time I was sitting and this person popped up and I was like, "Oh, I guess we're talking today." Like that was my attitude, and it was like that for maybe like a month, and then a month later is like completely, why are you looking at me? Walking the other way, like it's just super awkward, right? And then I know that this particular person has other relationships that
Are similar.
Yeah, and those things have happened, right? So I think if we kind of hashed it out, or if this person was like, hey, you know what, this is the way that I've been feeling, we've been talking, I think I would be like, I don't know. I guess maybe if we're talking it out, it's depending. I think you're right. I think it would, if this person was like, hey, this is what was going on, and then I was like, okay, well, I've noticed this, like what's going on, and they were open, then I don't even need an apology. I honestly just like, if they were just open and wanting to work it out, I think possibly I'd probably be like, okay.
Because I'm the same way with you. If this one person that I have in my life all of a sudden shows up and be like, we're best friends now, and then like if nothing ever happened, I don't think I would be, I'm just like you. I'm like, no.
Because there's no sense of trust, right? Like I trust freely. I truly believe like if I meet you, I trust, I respect. Like I'm not the person that's like, oh, you have to like trust me first. You have to like show me respect first. I'm not that person, because I feel like bridges are built when you're the one that offers that, right? But I think it goes to a sense when now like even it's not just towards you, but even your family members begin to get involved. I think that's where I cross the line. And that's where I'm like, if you're getting like my family members involved, then here's an issue.
Yeah. For me, and again, going back to what you're saying, it's if somebody was to come up to me and be, hey, we're best friends now.
And you have no idea what happened from like X is like from A to B, right?
And it has. Like it's currently happening in my life right now. Somebody has showed up in my life again, and then they're like just pretending like nothing ever happened for the last 10 years. We're talking, but there's still hesitation because there's been no resolution. Yeah. Right. And so I'm always like, I'm hesitant and just giving them my all, because there's been no resolution, right? And so that is, for me, I think if anybody, you need to hash it out to exactly what I told this guy, right? I don't know what I've done, but if you tell me, I can fix it.
Yeah, but
And-
if a person's not willing to talk to you, then
Exactly.
that's where that's
Exactly.
where the problem lies, right?
Exactly. No, I agree.
And that's the thing. Like I've had conversations with other people where, like, this one particular person in my life, they were like, "Oh, you know what? Like, you just work over it. Like, you just have to think about the future. What matters now? It doesn't matter what they do. It matters, like,
Yeah.
you know, you have to figure out a ways that, like, you and your family can be in this other person's life." And I'm like, no, this particular person has chosen
Yeah.
to step out of my life.
I agree.
So why would I make an effort to have my family members be part of their life? You know what I mean? So
No,
it's
I
just
agree.
so it I think so I guess in a way conflict resolution is super important because I've also had conflict where I've been able to work it out and that relationship has gotten stronger. But if there's the one person who's not willing to work it out, then I'm kind of like I'm okay with it. Like I guess at this point in my life it hurts. It's annoying. It's something that has to be managed, but I'm okay with it. Like what am I going to do?
And I think, and yeah, so going back to even today's topic with weathering the storms, I think at some point in your life, whatever storm that's happening in your life, you have to be brave enough
Yeah.
or courageous enough to let the person or the situation know what is happening. And so, because there's no recognition that there is a challenge, if there's no recognition that something's happening, you can't. That storm will always be there.
Yes, but you can work because I'm like going through towards the comment that this person said with regards to like on the Facebook group about the daughter and the mom and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it and I was like, because you know what? Like I've gone through something similar. But I'm like, what I said to her, I was like, listen, the feelings suck because it sucks to be in a situation like that.
Yeah.
You didn't choose that situation. Sometimes situations like that pop into your life. And like you got to focus on the people that want to be part of your life.
Yeah.
That would be my advice. If you're going through that and if you're having a relationship, yes, it's important to communicate. Yes, it's important to face the storm. It's important to like have this ability to like move past it. But if the person is not ready to move and you're the only one that's ready to move past it, then it's the aspect of focusing on the people that do want to be part of your life. That person was me, Maria.
So,
Maria owed me a bag of candy and I was hangry.
so she goes, this person was me. Maria owed me candy, a bag of candy, and I was hangry on the top of it. Kidding aside, in those situations, tend to keep an arm's length or distance myself. Life is too short to run after people, and I read somewhere that we're not our own. What?
We're not owed a closure.
Oh, we're not owed.
You have to
Oh.
be okay with not knowing why someone did the thing. Yes. I love that. Dang, Vanessa. Yes. Yes. Girl, I needed to hear that. We are not owed a closure. 100%.
I don't know.
No, we're not. What if the other person is not, like, doesn't want to give you the closure?
But
You
then,
can't put it, like, I think for me, it comes from a sense of entitlement. Sometimes we feel entitled to have a closure. We have entitled to feel these things. But if the other when we have entitled, it's like we're putting onus on another person. We can't control what other people do. We can only control what we do.
right.
You have to figure out your own closure.
Well, I think being okay with walking away, not knowing, is the closure,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, with me and this particular person, no, I don't know. The closure, and so I understand what Vanessa's saying right here, that we're not only we're not owed a closure, but I think and correct me if I'm wrong, Vanessa.
Please correct him because he is wrong.
I'm not wrong. You need to hear me out first. Hang on one second. Closure from the person to you, yes. We're not in control of that person, so we're not owed it. I think what she's trying to say is we're not owed an explanation, right? So the person not telling us why they're angry at us, right? I don't control that person, so they don't owe me an explanation, which is great. But for me to say, I can't do anything about it, I'm here whenever you're ready to talk, we're good, I'm just gonna go and live my best life and then whatever, that of itself is closure. You've given yourself closure to that particular situation. And when that person's ready to talk, then that's great. You're not owing an explanation, but I think the closure, you can find it.
You have to be in charge of your own
You
closure.
have to be in charge of your own closure, right? And so whether that closure comes from that person in the form of an explanation, or the closure is just you accepting the fact that's happening, what's happening, and then you just choose to walk away,
Yeah.
then that becomes of itself your closure. You living your best life, even in spite of these two people not thinking highly of you, that has been your closure. You are the best mom. You are the best daughter. You're the best wife. I don't know about wife, but you are. Let's be real here, right?
Shady.
Let's be real.
Kinda shady.
I've had many conversations with Mike, right? There's challenges.
100%.
Free Mike. Hashtag free.
Yeah. That's a good. I'm sure he'd agree with that. You gotta make the whistle sound and just.
Yeah.
Free Mike.
Poor spouses. But anyways, but yeah, you have become your own. You have become your own closure.
I'll send you my calendar for guest appearance. Yes, girl.
We can actually. We can have guest appearance and we can pop them up on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, so that's that. But again, I think going back to my original question to you, what's the most important key skill? I think I stand by my side, and it's communication. It's learning how to communicate with people, and a lot of the storms are because this is what I was going to tell you. Have you heard? And I've tried to look this up, and I don't know where it is. The difference between the water buffalo and the cows.
Yep. The water
the storm?
buffalo, the water buffalo runs towards the storm.
Right.
Then they're able to pass through the storm a whole lot faster, rather than the cow runs away from the storm, so they're a lot tired. And then when they go through the storm, they have to suffer a whole lot more.
And not only that, as they're running away, they're not faster than the storm, so the storm catches up, and now
They're still running.
They're running
Yeah.
in the storm versus running towards it, right?
So be a buffalo. Moral of the story: just go through conflict. Is the easiest way.
Yeah.
It's like I agree. I feel like the conflict is the way, the bison and the cows. Yeah,
Thanks,
I think
Mike.
Mike, it was the one, he sent me the video about it, and then I looked it up on YouTube.
Yeah, and I don't know if this story is one of those.
It's true. It's based on the plains. It's somewhere in the States. I forget. I think I wrote a little bit about it.
So this is for reals, for reals.
It's for real.
It's
yeah.
factual, like it's science,
factual.
like okay.
Yes.
I'm always hesitant, and when doing my workshops, I've heard this story a lot of times, and I've always wanted to use it, but I'm teaching like educations and whatever, and so I don't want to be
like-
I don't want to be called out. I'm like BS. That's not true.
No, it is true.
Okay.
It is. It's in the States somewhere. It's in the valley. I don't know. I want to say Texas, but it's not Texas. But it is where there's like mountains. There's
Mm-hmm.
a valley, and then it is true. I have. I'll look it up. Like I have it somewhere in my
Okay.
notes.
I'll use
But
it
I
then.
remember. Yeah, I remember looking into it, and I'm like, it's so interesting because, and that's what we were talking about. Like, I think you're right. I think sometimes as people, we are afraid to have difficult conversations.
Yeah.
Just quickly, I'll share. Remember that conflict that I had that I shared with you? It happened where
With
I
Mike?
said no, it wasn't with Mike. A lot of conflict management through our marriage. Let me tell you that. No, but this was actually with somebody from I think it's fine.
No, don't say it here. Right here.
No, it's fine.
Right here.
But-
I want to know because
no, I've shared this. I think as I tell you the story, you'll remember, right? But I had conflict with somebody. I had said something that hurt their feelings. I didn't
Oh,
mean to say.
yes,
I didn't mean it in
yes.
the way that it was taken.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
yeah.
about. I think it's a natural human reaction
Yeah.
where you want to explain yourself, be like, hey, like I didn't mean it the way that it came across, right? And I remember as I was kind of like starting to defend myself, the thought came into my mind that it said, it doesn't matter what you said, it matters how they felt when you said it.
Right,
So then I stopped myself, and then after, I think I could have walked away, especially because we were in a group. This is a group setting, so everybody's like, there's like a solid maybe 10 people there. I kid you not, it was uncomfortable, and everybody's like scurrying away. Like, but I could have walked away too, and I could have allowed this awkward situation to happen. Instead, I was like the bison. I went right into it because
Yeah.
I went and I talked to this person, and I was very apologetic. And instead of explaining myself away, I was like, I am so sorry. I'm sorry that like it created these feelings. I'm sorry, like what it brought up and all that stuff. But it was really great because that conversation allowed me to have like a solid conversation with this person, which they actually shared the problems.
reasons why.
Yeah. And then
That was huge.
Yeah, and I kid you not, it like it solidified our relationship so much more.
Yeah.
Like I could trust this person 100%.
Is this person in a much higher leadership position now?
No, I think we're in the same, like we're part, anyway. Well,
Yeah, we'll talk after.
Well, yeah,
'Cause
we're in lead. It's like we're in leadership together, whatever,
No,
right?
I know. I'm because I had a meeting and this person showed up, and so I was very curious as to why.
Okay, well, like, yeah, we'll talk about it after. But honestly, it helped me to understand because there are so many things that happen, and even though I have conflict with these people, right? Whatever, I do.
I don't know if
realize
you've noticed the theme here.
conflict. Well,
Maria has conflict
I
with
100%.
co-host. Poor Mike, Vanessa. She owes her a bag of candy. Like,
let alone like my high school years.
Maria's a walking mess. I'm
I'm
telling
like
you.
a walking TikTok bomb. I don't know, whatever. Tick
Walking.
bomb? Tick bomb.
No,
Is that-
walking.
Tiki,
Time.
time bomb, tiki bomb, the tiki talkie. Just kidding. I watched this. It was like
Oh my
I watched this TikTok video. I don't have TikTok. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not a fan, but I do watch like some. I do have Instagram, and I do watch like TikToks when they're
Yeah.
reposted on Instagram.
Yeah.
And there was this particular person. It was like this guy who scared his grandma, and it was so funny. It was like I was dying. I love scaring reels, right? And I was dying laughing. And she's like busy swearing at him, and she's like, "This tiki-talkie crap." Does not say the word crap, by the way. But I died. So every time I think of TikTok, it makes me think of tiki-talkie.
Tiki talking. Yeah, which is wrong. But anyways,
Anyway, yeah. So what did Vanessa said?
the only conflict I'll face head on is what to eat and if I should impulse buy or not. Everything else I want nothing to do with.
Not my circus. There we go. Yeah.
I know.
I only get involved in conflict that has directly to do with me.
Yeah.
That's like other stuff. Actually, I have a bad habit of getting involved in other people's conflict, but working on that, and I haven't done that in a while. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's a personality type it is a personality type to want to be, because you have a lot of answers. You're
A well-read.
a well-read madre. You are a well-read person, and so you have a lot of answers, whatever, and you've lived somewhat of a life, and so
Somewhat of a life.
I mean, it's mostly been a conflicted life, but
100%.
when you see a challenge, you want to help. You have a good heart, and you want to go in and you want to drop some knowledge and stuff like that. But sometimes we got to learn how to just
Walk away.
walk away, and let it happen.
100%.
That is one of the biggest. I'm telling you right now, because I was you, and
Old me. I am not that anymore.
you're not.
I try not to be. Are you kidding me?
Okay, so you
That
still
get,
are.
like-
You still
No,
are.
I haven't. I haven't been for the past
What, 2 days?
and counting. Okay, just kidding. No, I can't think of the last conflict that I was involved where there was like multiple people. I absorb everything. So what does letting things go look like? Girl, that just
Well, you're married to Andrew, so I'm
This is-
joking.
listen,
I'm joking. I love Andrew. Yeah.
this is what helps me. I like the way that I think it's a work in progress. I don't think we're always 100% able to do it. I think this is going to take us a whole lifetime in order to be able to do it perfectly. But for me, what that looks like of letting go of like for instance, the conflict that I do have, I do try to remind myself that, well, one of the things I always say is like hurt people, right? The other thing that I always remind myself is that we always see life from the lens of our life experience.
Yeah.
So and sometimes we project, like sometimes if you've noticed, we've had, like at least for myself, I know I've projected in the past and I've had issues with people because of my projections that had nothing to do with the actual person.
Yeah.
So thinking of that helps me to be more forgiving of people, and it helps me to let go.
So to make a course correction here, not from you, I do love Andrew and I do love Beth. So I don't want listen. Andrew and I, we used to go to work out together,
Yeah.
and so Andrew considered a close friend. So I was joking, internet, but to answer her, and I think the change that I've seen in you, and the change that I've seen in me. And we've talked about this many times on the
Yeah.
podcast. It's about personal development.
Oh, yes.
It is-
Personal development.
It is, and I think one of the, which is why we created this vision to success. Any road to success, and whatever success is, whether it be finance, better wife, better husband, better daughter,
co-host.
better co-host. It starts with a vision,
Yeah.
and then there's the in betweens, right? Like the vision to the success and what happens in between. And I think the in between has always been personal progress. What are you doing on a daily basis to become a better person? There's no way that I could have gone up to this one person and said sorry for something I didn't know what I did
Yeah.
if it wasn't for what I was seeing in the Middle East and then becoming self-aware, which is what you said, of what I needed to do. And then that self-awareness only came after the much read books and audio podcasts that I've been
Shit,
listening.
you've been reading? Just
No,
kidding.
not really. Not really.
I agree.
But I think personal development is at the
I 100%
core
agree.
of everything.
I 100% agree. I remember I did like a women's workshop.
And it's not just books, I'm sorry, but it's also like scriptures and stuff like that,
Yes.
right? Like it's daily affirmations. But anyways, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that I do a lot of personal development, right? I read, I listen to audiobooks, I attend workshops.
I can't tell. I'm just saying I can't tell. But anyways, go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, your book of notes from what I've said.
What book of notes?
I'm just kidding.
What book?
No, but I agree with you in the sense like this particular person in the workshop said you can't not divine it. You can't change something you don't know. You can't just be like, I want to get better at this and then divine it and all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're better.
Yeah.
And it struck a chord with me because she's like, we're so much more willing to get expensive things
Yeah.
instead of like buying things that will help us to develop ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And she was talking like she was talking with regards to I can't remember exactly. But anyway, the point of this story is that you can, like, for instance, when I had that conflict with a particular person, that very quote that came to my mind where it was like, you cannot, what did I say? I was like, it doesn't matter what you said. It matters what the other person heard.
Yeah.
That came from a quote of a book that I read.
There you go.
Had I not read that book, that quote would have never popped into my mind,
And
right?
you would have liked.
I would have blown up too because
Yeah.
I would have been upset. I
Yeah.
would have just seen the person's actions as it were
Yeah.
and just took it for face value when in reality our actions have a lot of history behind the reason why we do what we do.
What was that thing? People will tend to buy what? What'd you say?
What?
You said people will tend to buy something to make themselves feel good.
Yeah, people will tend to buy like objects in
Yeah.
order to make themselves good, but they won't actually buy things in order to improve themselves.
And I think so. Brandon Bouchard talks about how, and Simon Sinek
Mhm.
talks about how when you go to the gym and you don't see anything, and you're like, okay, it's just been one day. Then you go another day and you don't see it. It's like, what's going on? And you go to the gym another day and you don't see any results. You keep going on the scale. You keep measuring yourself. There comes a point in time where you keep doing something and don't realize that, and you're like, in your mind, it's like, well, this is not working. And so then you stop. A lot of people stop because they don't see immediate results, right? Not understanding that health and fitness, it's a long-term game.
Even like wellness, any kind of wellness.
It's a long-term game,
Yeah.
right? Like you may not see the immediate result, but understand that you have planted a seed. It takes time, a little bit of cultivation, and it will bear fruit. 100%, right? However, buying things, it's an immediate.
That's how we do it.
Yeah. And so we buy a jacket that we like because it's an immediate feel good.
Yeah.
We buy the best shoes because it's an immediate feel good. We buy my car, the Jeep, and I was like, I felt like a superstar the minute I walked away with it, right? But that's why we tend to go to like the easy path. We buy things because they make us feel good now.
Yeah.
Versus when you personal progress, when you read those books, when you log into the Vision to Success podcast, when you read your scriptures, you have to understand that it's the long haul, which is
It's a marathon.
it is a marathon, and those are the things that are going to last even longer.
Yeah. When I'm so much in my head over things, sometimes I have to do things physically. Yes. Example, remind myself I can only control what is attached to my body. Visualize a cord to me cutting it and walking away and drastically write whatever it was I wanted to say or bother me and burning the paper after buying it.
After buying it.
Oh, after buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that's personal development right there, Vanessa. I'm like, what's her name? Mel Robbins actually talks about that. So what I would suggest to what?
Talks about what?
Well, she actually, I don't know if this is what she meant, but I did this exercise. Mel Robbins had this whole exercise with regards to journaling.
Wrote the 5-second rule. Yeah.
Yeah, she had this exercise with regards to journaling, and sometimes she gave the prompt. It's like, why can it be easier? And then basically you just write your thoughts and everything that's bothering you down. And it was funny because the people who she was doing the podcast with, she said, you know what, sometimes we stop ourselves because we're like, oh, what are we going to write? Like, it just makes no sense. But she's like, you have to write out a whole bunch of crap first in order to get that whole like golden sentence where you're like, oh, this is what's bothering me, right? Anyway, after that exercise, basically she had you burn the paper. I did this. It was amazing.
Yeah. Were you crying?
100%.
Yeah, of
I
course
was
you were
like,
crying.
you know, I'm always crying. I'm like,
Of course you were
I'm
crying.
like, the reason why my soul is as happy as it is
Yeah.
because I release any kind of like intense emotion, including
Yeah.
pain, fear, anger, anything like that. I release it through 3 years. Heck to the no, I'm not like stirring any trauma in my body. I know better now. So those bad boys come out in tears.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was really good. It was a great exercise. I tried it. It was amazing because I was like, wow, I actually, as crazy as it sounds, it actually felt alleviating. And I actually figured out a lot of, like with one particular relationship that I do struggle with, it helped me to get clear with the reason why I'm struggling with it and how I had a people-pleasing attitude, as in like, just tell me what I did wrong so I can fix it, as opposed to being like, what's the whole issue behind it and what is it going to take for me to work through it? Right? So it's really good. Like exercises like that are amazing. And that's why you need personal development, right?
I've always seen it. Like I've seen people do that. Like they write out their problems or challenges, stuff like that. I've actually, did I go to a seminar? Or maybe witness a seminar. And then the speaker had everybody come up and then they had a barrel, like a small little fire. And then people would just toss their problems in there. Which is interesting.
he's like he's too hippie-ish for me.
No.
Anyway, and you know what? With regards to personal development, sometimes you will find barriers where you in your mind you're like, this is ridiculous. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, just try it.
You just have to do it baby step
Yeah.
it. And we all go through it. I
Yeah.
remember the first time I was working with a financial advisor and she was telling me that she was like, oh, do you read personal development? And I was like, what's that? She's like, self-help books. And in my mind, I was like, I don't need that. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of like people need that, right? But I was so hesitant to start.
Yeah.
And it wasn't after I started like I started a different business where they recommended that you do personal development
Yeah.
that I dove deep into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always tell people get a coach. There's coaches for physical fitness where you're like a trainer,
Yeah.
right? You got to need a trainer for your mind and your heart as well. Mind, body, and spirit, 3 different things, 3 different coaches.
I love it.
A coach for your physicality, a coach for if you want to start a business. And I just literally had a conversation with somebody last week. I've been helping somebody try and start their business. And then like we've been taking huge, massive strides. And they're like, I had no idea, right? And so being able to bring some form of clarity in their life where it was foggy. Like when I started MTC Life, I got a coach. I got 2 coaches
Yeah.
that helped me put everything on paper, whatever. But I would not be where I am right now or advanced as much as I am. Because even till this day, I use a lot of their practices, right? A lot of their counsel. But getting a coach for mind, which is business or whatever, getting a coach for body, physical trainer, and then a spiritual coach as well. Church, people tend to go to church, read their scriptures and all these different things. And so, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. Do you want to go down a little bit? I think we have one more comment there in case we missed it.
Oh, we do. It helps me at least push my mind out of the trenches I was stuck in. Burring.
Oh, burn. That's what I was like, fine. But I'm like, I think you mean this. But yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. That was it.
are we
I feel
good?
I feel like everything's out of me. I got nothing more, guys.
I know. Good. I'm done with this.
Thank you to everybody that came and jumped on. We love you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, listen, so we're going to be back again. We are going to be back again next Monday. Okay. So we're going to put up a post and make sure that you like and follow so that when we go live, you get that notification. And it's going to be awesome. And again, please don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, now X, Instagram, YouTube, subscribe, do all those different things, whatever. So you always be witnesses of, and are we still doing the Tough Mudder?
Yeah, I'm doing it. Are you doing it?
Tapeworm Society?
Yeah. That's the worst name ever.
I don't care. I don't care. Tapeworm Society, yes or no?
Yeah, you're...
Okay, so if you want to follow, we're going to put up more information next time. If you want to join our team, the Tapeworm Society.
That name is so ridiculous. But sure, yes, we're doing it. I'm doing it either way. but he needs me to wear a shirt that says Tapeworm Society, so you're gonna do it.
Please.
Oh my god.
We need you to help us and have a phenomenal tape-free Worm Society day.
All right, love you guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Got a minute, don't know. Got a minute of your time. Got a minute of your. Better.
Hush up, gotta live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time. God of the creation, the relations I've got, the only one that keeps me safe, the only one you should trust. For sure, it ain't right that I have checked the speck of dust from all of its side. Fall down, that from my height, cause I didn't see the plank I have in my eye.